So we launched phase 2 of Project Toto. So Stigurian went over to Tanzania, taught some of our staff to blog. Because of lack of time, we didn't work with local partners or the actual people in the community. We only had time to train a staff member, and the idea was they would then take the message out to the community and take stories from the community and bring them back. So that was the limitation as well. In terms of giving poverty a voice, when you're giving a staff member a voice, although it is a staff member from Tanzania, not ActionAid Australia. So we decided to manage the project in-house because we wanted to be a bit more strategic about things. We launched a competition to find the next blogger, which is where this whole reality TV concept came into play. And it was half taking the piss and half an actual strategic choice, because in the end, half the problem with Project Toto was our choice of blogger and the networks we were linking into. So we thought, well, let's choose the right blogger this time. And as a result, we launched this competition. And I've got to say, I was absolutely amazed and never expected to see the sort of quality candidates we had. We had 52 nominees, which may not be a lot of people, but they were nominated by 350 people who, through their comments on the blog, it was all run through the blog, just showed how engaged they were in the issues and how passionate they were about the issues. And these 52 people were inspirational people. I'm someone who now works in the aid and development sector, and I know a lot of people who are very committed to these things, and to see so many people who are so committed yet so young was really inspiring, I found, and it was actually quite good for the team as a whole to see that there were people out there like that, especially when, as I said, getting a story about development in the media is almost impossible. So it opened up Toto from an exclusive social media club to a much more general public, and public that was interested in our topics. It helped attract young Australians and passionate Australians to ActionAid and to learn about ActionAid. And it, as a result of attracting the right type of people, it was much more viral. And I'm using viral in a very loose sense because we have not had tens of thousands of hits or interactions. But it was amazing the way we would always converse with people and ask them, so how did you hear about this? And the way it was hearing about it wasn't from the 2,000 impressions we had free on 9MSN. It was from people blogging about it. It was from people talking to people about it, which was fantastic. So we had the reality show style challenges, 3 challenges. One was to blog about the link between climate change and poverty. This is in the lead up to Copenhagen, so it was very relevant. Another was to create a video blog. And the third challenge was purely practical, and that was to fundraise for Project Toto to make it actually happen. We decided early on that if we were going to do this, we needed to get support for it. We needed to know that there was support from the social media community, the Australian community, to do something like this. And luckily we did raise enough money. We were aiming for 10,000 and in the end raised 8,500-ish, which is more than enough to send our bloggers overseas. And we also were much more strategic in our choice of location. Tanzania we chose because a particular campaign that we haven't yet launched and I can't talk about because of that. It's basically examining the operations of an Australian company operating in that country. And we wanted to tie it all in. Completely didn't work out because we didn't have all the information we needed at the time. But Tanzania wasn't crying out for a blog to be established. And as Stilgarian pointed out in one of his blogs, it was quite self-serving that we would send someone over to, give poverty a voice when poverty didn't necessarily want to have a voice in that particular instance. And so the amount of blogging that's happened has been limited, although it's growing and it's getting a lot better. So we chose a slum area in Bangladesh for the next outreach blog. It's an area that we've been working in for years, or ActionAid Bangladesh has been working in for years. And it's not just let's create a blog randomly in a slum area. There was a citizen journalism group that's been established by ActionAid in the area, and it's an initiative that came from the community. They wanted a way to both speak to fellow community members, but also the general Bangladeshi public and the wider world about the issues they faced. ActionAid is a rights-based organisation, so a lot of things we want to talk about is rights violations, and we see this as another avenue through which this citizen journalism group can talk about their rights. So lessons learned from Project Toto. one of the big things is that social media isn't about quick results, it's about establishing relationships. And I mean, social media is just, take out the media and it's social, and what's social? It's relationships, it's conversations. And once we realised that, we took a different sort of tact to the way we're doing things. It was more slow burn. And as a result, we've cultivated some very deep relationships with potentially influential people who can help us out on campaigns or help us out with fundraising. And we also realised that social media wasn't a standalone thing. And I'm saying this, and I'm freely admitting that I'm an idiot for not realising this earlier. But it had to be integrated into the way we were doing media. It had to be integrated into the way we were doing programs. It was a communication strategy at first. Now it is actually is something where we're trying to achieve tangible results for the people we're working with. And we realise that now. And obviously strategy and planning is very important for social media. It's not about just getting out there and listening to people and reacting to people. You have to have a reason for doing it. You have to have an actual objective and be thinking about why you're doing things. But we have had very, very positive results following the sort of second phase of Project Toto. We've, like I said, got a small but growing list of active advocates for ActionAid. I think we have successfully established ActionAid within certain communities as a bold and innovative charity or development organisation that's willing to do something new and try different approaches, and that's what we're doing in the field in the way we work, so it fits quite nicely. And it has been held up as an example for the rest of the development community in terms of accountability. There's Australian Council for International Development is the peak body for NGOs in Australia, and they recently published a report talking about innovative approaches to accountability with NGOs, and Project Toto was held up as an example there because we were letting go of control, which is what social media is about when you engage it as a brand. And so that's quite positive, I think. And one of our objectives of ActionAid is to facilitate networks of shared concerns. So when we work in a community, we will try and build the confidence of a community to deal with issues. And one way of doing that is also to network that community with other communities and therefore build greater awareness amongst the fact that you're not alone, you have these concerns, and there are people that you need to lobby here. And one thing that's happened through Project Toto is, even though Tanzania was not perfect, the blogging that's happening there, the posts that are coming out are about issues that ActionAid is working on. And in one case, for example, a network from the Netherlands who's working against a biofuels company operating there has contacted our bloggers and said, we need to work together on this because I hear that that company is also operating in this particular area. And now that's effectively become an international advocacy campaign against this company. So it's creating those connections, which is really positive to see. And our big brother or big sister in the UK, ActionAid UK, which generates the majority of fundraising for ActionAid, has now decided to take this project on themselves. So they're going to launch Project Toto soon, which means that our vision of creating these outpost blogs around the world is actually going to become a reality, because not only is Australia creating them, we'll have UK doing so with a lot more resources and a whole fresh pool of bloggers in the UK. So, yeah.
Thank you, Mark. Crack open your iPhone and check the Twitter stream. I think you're getting a lot of sentiment in the room tonight. Well done.